Good to go.
Welcome, challengers, to Battleground of the Gods, a Smite podcast. I'm your host, Dep Nation, and joining me today we have Fro G
What's up, motherfuckers?
and Riggs.
I'm full of venom today.
Oh, what is it? Whenever our pets are acting up, we'll be like, "Oh, they're full of piss and vinegar."
Yeah, full of vinegar.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
So,
Okay. Have you ever
you
heard
got
the
some, bro.
expression? Yes, I do. Have you ever heard the expression, you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
right.
pretty sure the flies like the vinegar, though.
Well, right, but the expression is, getting sweet
Yeah.
opposed to being sour.
Right.
I worked in a restaurant that went to make these fruit fly traps, and they fucking used vinegar. I'm like, are you guys dumb? Are you literally dumb? Have you
Apple.
not heard the expression? No, that's what they did. They took an apple slice
Apple.
and stuck it in apple cider vinegar. And I'm like,
So apple cider vinegar and Dawn dish soap.
right.
And then you
Well,
saran wrap the top and you poke holes in it.
okay,
so they
first
can
off,
sell
it's a
fruit
kitchen. No, it's a kitchen. You cannot use chemicals. Not allowed to use chemicals to kill the bugs. No
Dawn dish
chemicals
soap?
allowed in the kitchen. No,
I mean,
no,
that's not
you
tell
can't have,
anybody,
you can't poke, no, it's against the law. You can't just put soap around, like, no, soap is not meant to be ingested. You cannot just have it laying around unopened or in an opened.
That's what the
environment like
saran wrap's for. It's not opened anymore.
Right, doesn't count. It's not considered sealed. But what you can
I'm on
do
Deb's
is, but that's what they do, because they'll take like one of those ramekin or like a soup bowl. If you go to a restaurant,
Yep.
they put saran wrap
Ramekin.
over the top with the apple cider vinegar, a little slit in the saran wrap. They can crawl down in there, they can't get out. And I'm like, guys, there's literally a fucking expression in the American lexicon that you get more flies with honey than you do vinegar. And so I just fucking went and made my own trap with fucking honey and sat it like the other side of the room. What do you know? Mine got more. And I'm like, who would have fucking guessed?
Who would have fucking guessed?
You know what else is an expression in American? What did you say? Lexicon.
Nomenclature. Or lexicon, yeah, that could work too.
These nuts.
Got him! Fuck, guys. I wasn't ready. I was not ready.
You were not
You know what
ready
I
for
am
his
ready.
nuts.
You know what I am ready for? I'm ready for some games. Fro G. How were your games this week?
Fuck, I wasn't ready for that though.
Oh
This
I played a
guy.
few
shit.
games.
Smooth.
I don't really have anything too terribly notable. Not that I haven't played. I mean, I've played a few games. It's just I've been playing Fenrir.
Mm.
Not sure if you guys have heard my rants over the past couple of years about me and Fenrir. I'm not good at Fenrir, like at all.
Yeah.
At all. I'm a very bad Fenrir. But I've been having fun because I like playing Fenrir. Except for one match. I do need to tell you guys something. If you have a Fenrir on your team, it doesn't matter if he's going tank. It doesn't matter if he's going bruiser. It doesn't matter if he's going damage. He is looking to fuck, right? I am looking to fuck. Early game. I want kills. We're snowballing. Quit being a bitch. Fucking follow me. We are fighting. We are fucking fighting. Stop fucking. I don't give a fuck that you're a thoth. I'm only a thoth in level 5. I don't give a shit, you little bitch. Follow me. We're fucking fighting. I'm Fenrir. That's what we do. I don't want to wait until fucking level 20. I'm fucking useless at level 20.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true, because then you're fully tank and you got like max cooldown and you're literally. Because I was that guy who was like, yeah, I'm grabbing Genjis and that shit. I want like max cooldown.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I was literally still getting picks. Most games still get picks rather frequently, but I'm looking to
See,
fuck. I'm looking to
Can I tell you
fuck.
my biggest pet peeve about people that play Fenrir?
Yeah, let's hear it.
When you ult somebody as Fenrir,
Mhm.
and you fucking just keep on dragging that person away, like past your team, and then run away from your
That's
team
so
with them.
frustrating.
And they'll do it into like the tower, right? Which is smart play, right? Bringing them to the tower does a lot of damage. But so does your fucking team waiting there to do the damage. Just sit still and have them in your mouth like a good boy, and then have your team
it is
just
situational.
unload on them.
It is situational, right? Because there are times where it's like, what you're saying, yeah, 100%. Why'd you run past them? Like, you just have to bring them to me, right? That's it. Just bring the person to me. I'll kill them. You don't got to run. Keep going. But there is something to be said about taking them so far, especially like under tower, where it like forces them to then, once they're out, use their leap immediately, right? to try to get out, because then they're way out of position and without a leap. If you're a Fenrir, don't target someone who's got their leap though. That probably shouldn't do that. But yeah, just bring him. Like I was playing a game with Colorado. He was playing Set, right? That's his diamond challenge.
Nice.
I literally just ulted the motherfucker and did not move for the duration of my ult, because he was right there. Like we were just boxing. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm just gonna ult the dude, and I just stood still for the entire ult duration. Like because as soon as I ulted, I picked him immediately up and just let Colorado auto him. That's all I did. I just fucking and just fucking stabbing him in a Set.
Yeah.
Like it worked. Like
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I do think probably one of the biggest tips I have for people on Fenrir, and again, I'm pretty shit. When you ult someone,
Yeah.
already know where most of your damage is, right? And if your damage is on cooldown. Like my Thoth, for instance, I was on my team. If I just watched him ult and use his one, I'm going to have to give the motherfucker like 5-6 seconds before he does any damage, right? He's on cooldown. Like that is worth noting. But let's say we're late game or whatever, and you have a crit hunter. Find your damage, right?
Yeah.
Ult the motherfucker, the enemy that you want to ult, and just walk right, straight line, unimpeded, 100% right to that damage dealer that's carrying your ass. Don't make them try to aim autos. Nope. I'm lining up the autos for you. Fucking straight line, as the crow flies, right at that fucking damage dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hate it. Especially if you're playing something like a Cuckoo and you see a Fenrir ult, and yeah, watch this, and here comes the fucking ult cruising in, and then all of a sudden Fenrir twitches to the side and moves the dude out of the way. You're like, why? Why the fuck did you move? What's to your left? What's so fucking distracting to your left that you just turned the motherfucking enemy out of my damage, huh?
Yep.
I mean, he is a dog. There could have been a squirrel.
Fuck, it was Ratatasker.
Yeah, there could have been a little rat running around.
That is fair.
One of my other favorite things with Fenrir, on the opposite side, right? One of my favorite things with Fenrir is doing the little fake bite to burn CC immunity, and then you just turn and bite them after theirs is done. So you see, because what's everybody want to do, right? They see a Fenrir come at them, I'll just beads it, or I'll use like good CC immunity, whatever. So you run at them, and then you do what Fro's saying not to do, where you just do a little fake bite. Like you turn to your right or left real quick and bite, and so they hear the animation, so they freak out and use it, and then you just turn back when it's over and bite them and bring them back.
Now listen,
Honestly,
Riggs,
most people are shitty enough.
Classic.
That's only gonna work against like the big brain people that you play with. For the shitters that are in Fro and my queue.
No, that'll work down there too.
No, it works even better.
Beats.
Yeah, they'll beat like
they'll
if Fenrir gets within range, like they won't assume that you're waiting. They'll just like, oh, this guy's gonna start. He's biting, trying to get to me before he's even in range. So they're gonna instant beads. And if you just we
have the Coffin Monkey Shuffle for the Walrus hands. What's the Fenrir bite? We gotta think up a name for that when you ult as Fenrir and you're just chomping all the way to fucking someone.
All right, so I thought of a name, but it's kind of cringe and I don't like it.
So think of a different name.
Oh no, you gotta say it now. You've already.
Yeah, but I just kind of the Fro double nibble. But I'm like, I'm not sure where that's going, because I do that shit a lot too, where I'm like going up to fucking bite the guy beforehand. And I whipped a few, but I'm not about using that. There's just one of the ones that's like, it was cringy enough, it's like I can't get it out of my head.
It's not really like a name per se, but it's like similar kind of action where it's like, when you go to like give like a little like toddler like something with a spoon, right? You're like, all right, here, feed it
the
to them,
Fenrir
and then
fakie.
then you pull the spoon away really quick so they bite nothing, or they do that. That's what I can think of. It's like a similar action, just like Fenrir is biting the air over and over. Like,
yeah, we can go with the Fenrir fake out, Fenrir fakey. I'm just a fan of narration.
We'll keep workshopping it. Tell you what, listeners.
Well, I'm giving out suggestion. Riggs is like, you remember when we were fucking picking on babies?
Yeah. I mean, what else are babies good for? They don't do anything. They don't pay rent. They don't do shit. You got to clean up after them. You got to fuck with them a little bit, Oh, you want this food? Nah.
That's about it.
You want this food?
Nah.
In the new episode chat, give us a name for the Fenrir chomps.
Did you play other Fenrir games, Fro? You working on that Diamond Challenge?
I did play. Like I said, I've been playing a few. Nothing too terribly notable. again, because I'm just kind of ass at Fenrir. Except for
Yeah.
one game, I will get it popped up. Um, things were just clicking with my team. CCs were getting like staggered like perfectly. I was playing with Colorado, Murfenic, and who the fuck was the other person? You have your profile locked. Absolute Friezo. Why do you got your profile hidden? Calling you out. Actually, I know exactly why he has his profile hidden. Fuck it. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. It's because the dude refuses to play with fucking Weekend on stream or in ranked, and like literally, when he's on Weekend's team, he's like, "I'm not being on Weekend's team," and will dodge the fucking queue.
Oh,
and he's received some hate from some Weekend simps, some T5s or T3 subs. Pretty upset about that. So he that's would be why he has his profile hidden.
Okay.
Imagine. Salty fanboy is just salty. But anyways, I was doing all right. I've been going one of two. I'm torn on what I prefer, whether I prefer the axe start or benevolent start on him. Because benevolence is nice because you can just 100% ignore the wave besides your runes, like all game long, and just get healed. Along with helping your allies out. But, fuck them guys. I get healed, right? That's the important part. And then, especially because I'll follow it right up with a Stone of Gaia afterwards. And it's like, that's just fat sustain for that heavy aggro that I want to do. If I'm Fenrir, I want to aggro. Motherfuckers. I'm going to state that again.
Knockups are just so fucking devastating. It's such a goddamn troubling fucking CC.
Right.
It's a goddamn problem.
Well, and I've also kind of leaned into just HP builds in general on Fenrir.
Yeah.
So usually, like second item, I'll go into an Urchin. So I got a lot of prots, a lot of health.
Yeah, and a shield. Occasional
and then
shield.
If I'm really needing the cooldown, I'll go like a Genji's. If I'm not, I'll pick up Oni Hunters. And then the Hunters, if they're going crit, I'll either get a Spectral or Mid Guardian appropriately. Again, just stacking more and more HP.
Yep.
And then I'll finish off with like the last one kind of flexes a lot, whether a Jotuns or I need a Brawlers, if I want to pick up a Witchblade, Relic Dagger. Like I'm looking for a little cooldown usually at that point, right? Just to top it off. We're late game. I'm alt-botting at this point, right?
I do have a question, Fro Double G.
Yeah.
You're playing this in Conquest by the sound of it.
Slash.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So, then here's the part where I really get torn because you have the two different options on your starter, right? You can go to the axe where every, I think it's 10 seconds, an enemy will get 10%. I think it's 10% of your health as a health shield if they get CC'd. You have like 3,500, 4,000 health.
15%.
15%, yeah. So it's like a quick math. It's like a 600% or 600-ish health shield, roughly. Yeah. Pretty solid. I like it.
Well,
or if you go the benevolence option,
yeah.
Holy shit, I forget what it is. Another health percentile heal. I'm drawing a blank on the passive.
Oh, right, the other one.
Yeah, not the auto attack one. Not compassion.
No, compassion.
The good one.
Animosity. Is it compassion?
Yeah,
it's compassion's compassion's the good one.
Yeah.
Animosity is the auto attack one.
Yeah, right. So compassion, yeah. And I don't remember off the top of my head exactly the passive.
That one's
but
also
I know it's
15%.
Yeah, it's more percentile health healing, and you're stacking HP. It works very well. I will occasionally, like that last item, I'll sneak in a Mail of Renewal if I feel like we're getting away with just low cooldown anyways, but I want like to add even more sustain. Like usually that's the one where it's like, okay, they don't have anti-heal. Their burst isn't like, if it's just a raw, like for instance, for their burst damage, like they're not like, yeah, you'll chunk me, but you're not killing me, right?
Right.
Then I might pick up that Mid Guardian or not the Mid Guardian, the fucking Mail of Renewal, because then it's just so much heal. It's like, essentially it's punishing them for Not building anti-heal. Imagine that.
You know, Fro, speaking of anti-heal, you and me, we were playing a game with Nev the other day.
Fucking A right we were. Holy
And we were
shit.
we were in Assault and we were looking at the Tainted starter. Because our team needed anti-heal. Fro and I skipped. I think we were all mages. So like that's a fucking problem, first off. Because all we have is like Divine Ruin and like fuck us, right? So Fro and I were like, oh well, let's get the Tainted starter as our last item. We'll get this anti-heal going. Kind of really just fuck up the enemy team with it. You got the breastplate and I got the amulet. Do you want to tell us about the breastplate?
Tainted breastplate. The anti-heal starter upgrade, right? Now hear me out. I'm going to say this real slow because it's going to take a second to process. It did for me.
Yep.
The anti-heal upgraded starter item has the highest physical defense out of any item in the entire game by a good chunk, by 10.
And it also has magical protections too.
Yeah, while also having a secondary prot.
Yep. And don't you get power with that item too?
Oh yeah, and it has almost a regular ass item's worth of power.
Yeah.
Now,
And
I have always bought this item in Assault just for the anti-heal because I'm like 50% anti-heal by myself. I can cover
Fucking
my
great.
team, right? It's great.
Right.
And I have looked at the stats, but it's just never fucking clicked in my head
Yeah.
how goddamn bloated this starter is.
Yeah.
Like, as stat-wise, this is a bloated-ass motherfucking starter, dude. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that the other starters just have really fucking strong passives,
Mhm.
I don't know why we would buy anything but this.
Right. Especially with how strong healing is in the game, right? Even
Yeah,
with
you
like the
can't see
global
me.
anti-heal agenda.
I've been shaking my
Oh,
head
I
this whole
can.
time. Oh, I was like, the listeners can't see me. I've been shaking my head this whole time. Yeah, the only thing holding Tainted Steel back for like the longest time was that the like regular starter item version
the
wasn't
base
that
item
great.
isn't, yeah.
It's still decent. Like the passive is still really good, but compared to the other starters,
Compared
like
to
it
everything
got
else, it's
outshined.
just not, yeah.
But I mean, especially recently in Conquest, like they buffed the Tainted Steel version a ton, so it's
Okay.
actually pretty good early game. The only downside is like it doesn't have any sort of sustain on it. Like you don't have any like
Yeah.
HP5 or MP5 or anything like that.
Right.
So you use other items to like compensate. But like Tainted Steel is fucking nuts, dude.
It's fucking nuts.
Well, Frodo
I was
it's
just shocked by the fucking the prots. Like literally 10 more prots than like you think like, oh, I need some fucking fizz prots, man. You're like, oh, let me grab that Midgardian mail. Let me grab that fucking the breastplate, the mystical mail. Like
Yeah.
you think one of these staple ones. You don't think, hey, you know what'll make me tanky as fuck with one purchase? Tainted. What?
You know, Fro, Tainted Amulet is along some similar lines to that.
With the
30%,
power.
Flipped, yeah, it's flipped.
30%, and it's a switch, so you're stealing that 30% heal, right?
Mhm.
It's
And the
it's
prots are
30%
flipped,
reduction. And it's not even just flipped, it's 90 fucking magical protections. I think
That
that's
is-
like at
I
least
think-
20 more.
Hold up. I'm
I think
gonna
the highest.
Riggs,
I know
open up Smite.
Pestilence used to be
it's
80.
the highest. It's the highest
Magical
magical prot. Just
Right.
talking about prots alone, it's not that best magical defense item. There's other defense like gives you like shields and stuff like that. But like just
Right.
pure the number magical
prots.
prot,
Pure
yeah,
the
it's
number
the
magical
highest.
prot, yeah.
It's the highest.
And it's
While
got
also giving fizz prot. What the
it's got 30 fizz prot.
fuck?
Oh, and then it's got, like a hybrid item's worth of power on it. 30 fizz and 50 magical. So
The thing I'll say for starters, right, is these are only good in my opinion. Tainted's only good on tanks. I would never build Tainted on a damaged character unless it's like you're a mage and you're playing against like 5 healing characters.
yeah.
That's the only time, because the other starters for mages and like hunters are just better for what you need to do. But as a tank player, yeah, dude, Tainted's super good.
I don't know. I'd like to throw in maybe a few little caveats. First off, none of this in Conquest because it just not.
Well,
gonna,
yeah. I'm taking out a Conquest. Like,
yeah, because
I
it's just
understand,
not gonna
like,
work. Like it just does not hold up.
you literally only build it in solo and Conquest because that's the only way you can get away with it. But like
Yeah.
in non-Conquest, I would still make the argument that the other like starters are better for what those characters want to do outside of like a few like small scenarios.
Yeah, I do think there are definitely some exceptions. Like if the anti-heal is just needed, right?
Yeah, like if you're going against like 5 healers, then yeah, you should probably build a Tainted. Like
yeah. I'm saying even just 2. Like he was Sylvanas in Hell alone, right? Like yeah, maybe pick it up. If you're someone who's really good about spreading on hit effects, like a Baron, for instance, he's real nice because he can keep it applied very well.
Yeah.
Granted, this could also apply to Divine, which would be the better choice, but
Divine
for whatever
plus
reason,
Ballers
that's
is
not able
80%.
to be built.
Yeah.
I do think it also is pretty good on ADCs, magical ADCs, and just like regular ADCs in general. Because I don't think Toxic's the greatest, but not horrible. Like you could either or, honestly, but Tainted will still give you a little bit of power and some defense too. So I guess you could be arguing that, but you will be lacking the pen, movement speed, health, and the other thing from the other one. But magical ADCs, I think it could, again, if they don't want Divine, it could fit in there because it does apply to your auto attacks and your abilities. So you could apply, so like for instance, like Oleron, who doesn't have much. Like he could also again Toxic Blade, or he could get Divine, but he could potentially just do this too.
Yep. Well, especially with that huge damaging ult that he has.
Yeah, huge
damage.
Like
huge
honestly,
high burst damage.
Someone says burst
ultimate.
damage alt, I'm like fucking Oleron. Sign me
Oleron,
up,
man.
Yeah, they still never came clean on who that was.
I fucking wouldn't.
Still a mystery.
I wouldn't at this point too, because we've been dogging the shit out of him every week ever since.
Still a mystery.
Oh. But yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up here at the head of my games. So.
But yeah, my last one is that I think a good time to buy Tainted is if you have gone a build where you haven't bought a starter at all, like what Depp and I did in that assault match. Neither of us had bought starters. Yeah. And we're just at the end. Granted, that little bit of anti-heal is kind of what we were needing.
The entirety of the match, so it was kind of a loss, but
yeah, that's another good scenario. Is like if you can afford to not have a starter, then yeah, you're level 20 and you're like, oh, I have the the pick of the litter of all the starter items. Yeah, Tainted upgrade is going to be always a good option.
That might be something that's holding it back too, because it's not like it's one of the support starters that lets you upgrade early.
That is something that is an issue. Yeah,
it needs to.
It needs to be upgraded early, I think.
That's one of the problems in like Conquest specifically that holds it back is that everybody would love to have a Tainted, right? Like it's not like it's a bad item. Everyone would benefit from anti-heal, but like a support can't get away with going Tainted because it doesn't give you any gold spooling, doesn't give you any sustain, and you have to wait till level 20 to upgrade it, which you're rarely gonna hit. Yeah. That's why like solo's the only lane that can get away with it.
And so like again, doubling down on it, the fucking evolved or whatever you want to call it, the fucking upgrades, there's so much protections that you can't say, oh, I'll just build another item and then get those protections at level 20. You're shooting yourself in the foot so goddamn fucking hard. Both feet. You're shooting yourself in both of your feet.
And let's also throw in, I know it's kind of a starter speciality to be cheap, right? Included the upgrade, because I think grand total, let's say it's a non-support one, so it's like 22 total, which is cheap for an item. You ain't getting those stats for 22 anywhere else. You can barely get half those stats for 22, right?
Right.
Yeah. Which is why it's level locked at 20, which is the trade-off. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I understand the caveat that, but to attach to Depp's point, like I understand this is why they're so cheap, right?
Right.
But because of that aspect, there is no other option for
Here's the
necessarily
thing.
that role, because there's also how many bruiser starters are there? You have the axe and
the axe,
tainted.
bluestone.
Axe, sigil,
Sigil would be the other
tainted,
one, but Sigil I'd
and
say
that's
is not
about
even
it.
very bruisery. It's just kind of more tanky.
It's full tank.
It's got the same stats as Axe.
Right.
but
Okay. Well, it
with-
has like I guess it does have like
it
the
has
power
the exact
stats.
same. It has the exact same base stats as Axe, except for I think it has 1 or 5 more magical procs.
But Axe has a damaging style passive, right? Right.
Yeah.
Sigil has more of a tanky style passive. So I mean, I guess it could be argued because it does have like the bruiser stats, like those three, like the kind of branching the different aspects. But
Yeah.
there aren't. My point was there aren't many actual like bruisery.
Well, and it's like blood soaked. You get the small heal and protections.
Vamp
it's
Shot.
got vamp shot. There we go.
I was like, blood. So what the fuck are you talking
Yeah,
about?
Yeah, I was
that's the
confused
upgrade.
too.
Yeah.
That's the upgrades. But
Well, no,
so I
not
was thinking
anymore. Yeah,
about
they
the
just
other-
changed. They just changed Vamp Shot, so it's not supposed to be hybridy tanky. It's supposed to just be a pure damage now.
Oh,
They
interesting.
got rid of all the health and all that off of it. It's just power and lifesteal now.
Okay. Huh.
Anyway,
Yeah.
starter items are good.
Yeah, starter. No, they're good, and if you can hold
Well,
off on getting them, Tainted's a great end game upgrade.
That is a good like kind of conversation of like I feel like people forget that starter item upgrades are like
They're
some of
so
the best
huge.
items you can get, and I feel like they don't plan around like getting those upgrades. You know what I mean? Like you buy your starter, like the base version of it, and you're like, all right, cool, I have this. I'm still gonna, you have like your build kind of planned out. I feel like a lot of people forget that their upgrade is like a massive item you get, and you should plan around it. Like you guys were saying with Tainted, right? The upgrades give you so much prods that as like a solo laner or like a bruisery kind of character,
You could
you can
overcap if you
afford
weren't
to
paying
go.
You
attention.
overcap easily.
Well, you can
Yeah.
afford to go like a more damage item because you're gonna rely on your Tainted upgrade to give you the prots late game. Like,
right.
so you can afford to do that. You can plan around your build a little bit better and think about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not
maybe
gonna lie.
instead
All I
of
can think
getting-
about is all the times where I've like literally had a salve and a breastplate and a tainted and gone, was I overcapped? Was I
Yeah.
overcapped? Hold up. Did I unintentionally overcap?
Yeah.
Like,
But hey,
I
maybe
think-
you could pick up brawlers.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's
I
a,
mean,
yeah.
yeah.
That's well, I was gonna be my point right there. It's like
Pull down on the anti heal, and you've got 90%. I think.
After
that,
down to 35.
so-
It's like 80 plus. Yeah.
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 when we get to my games, I'll talk about that because that's
Oh yeah, we
literally
are
something I've been doing. So.
Well, I think we're on my games, right?
Yeah, save me for
Yeah.
last because I got some
Yeah.
shit.
You got some shit. So much
Real
like
quickly,
Fro-
can I
God damn it! Son of
I
a
know,
bitch.
I know.
Motherfucker.
on Riggs's point though,
Go.
I wanted to just you mentioned how people aren't planning around their starters. In a way, it's like people are almost treating starters like they're still just blessings.
Yeah. It's like people forget that starters like become really,
Upgrade.
really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Like
just something you're picking up to get you to the late game. This is going to be part of the build late game.
Yeah. I see it all the time with like the Sands of Time one. People like forget that the upgrade has 20% CDR and like a bunch of stats. So it's like they'll buy like 40% CDR in the build and then it's like, oh, I want to upgrade. And it's like, well, I mean, you could have
Well,
gone without like a
pointless.
Chronos
Yeah.
pendant because now you have this cooldown you can buy. And it's like, now you're Omega overcapped on CDR and you could have gone something else, but
Right.
you're stuck with your starter.
We can let Depp do his games now, but someone mentioned something yesterday I think we might want to bring back too, and Chronos Pendant is absolutely worthless and pointless in the game right now. So,
Yes, sir.
Depp, how's your games?
Well, now I just feel foolish because every single one of them has Chronos Pendant.
Well, we can talk about it.
No, I'm
Bad
kidding.
item, dude.
It's not a bad item. It's because the Sands of Time exists.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad item.
So much like Fro Double G, I have been playing Neja as part of my Diamond Challenge because that's the god I picked. No, boy, my win rate's going down, boys. Look, the kill death is horrible. I tried a couple random queues, did not go well. Every game that I've built tanky has gone ass. So I'm just convinced that
Don't do it.
the damage is the future.
It
It
is.
is.
So
You want my what I
sure,
found
Fro,
success with
hit me
since
with it.
because they tweaked his 2, which kind of it didn't ruin his tanking capability,
Yeah.
but definitely fucking kneecapped it a bit.
Hmm.
Dude, build him like Heartseeker, build him fucking Transcend. Like, we are looking for just crazy power and pen, so you can just
Yeah.
pop people with the Sash ult.
Okay.
Like Heartseeker, fucking Brawlers, Bloodforge. I mean, you're still probably gonna want like a Deathbringer, right? Because he has built-in crit and shit. But
Yeah.
just power pen, just high power pen now.
Okay.
That's what I've had success with.
Okay. But most of my games were played in Nev streams.
Oh, you're
Chrono
bound to lose
G.
those then.
Yeah, we were
Ooh.
grouped with Fro and we were hitting some L's. And Fro's
Yeah, I
like,
left
"Man, fuck
salty. I
this. I'm
left
leaving."
salty.
You salted out. We
After like
won
the
the
third
next.
L, I'm like, yo, it's like nothing against you guys. I'm just tired of losing. Like that. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you guys suck. I'm tired of losing. It's just I'm tired of losing. End of statement. This is my last
Yes.
one.
Yeah. We did win the next game after you left.
Fucking
So
fuck you. You couldn't have done that before.
right. And then I had that be my last game because I was like, we fucking won. I'm done with this shit. Oh man. And then group back up with Nev last night. Did some Neja games. Everyone decided that they were going to do their Diamond Challenge gods. So we had all assassins in arena.
Yeah, boy.
And like the enemy team was spam laughing us. And in the post game chat, I was like, imagine spam laughing 5 assassins. Like,
That is one of the
like,
downsides of doing the diamond challenge this way is that if you group up with people and they all want to do it, you're all
yeah,
picking the same class.
yeah. So I think it was so funny. I forget who it was, but in the post game lobby, they're like, "Oh, hey man, guys, good luck on your ranked arena wins. I hope you get diamonds."
I love when
Like
people get
they were
salty when they
so
lose, and
funny.
then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, you fucking tryharding," and it's like, what the fuck is tryharding about playing damage Geb? Like, what?
Right.
What? I like. It kills me when you are legitimately trolling and someone's like, "Hey, you fucking tryhard," and it's like,
Right.
dude, you got clapped by a Cernanos tank. Shut
Yeah.
up.
Yep. And so then we had to swing it around for the next game. I picked Ganesha and clapped a couple cheeks. We were the bullies that game. And then, won some more, lost some more. I did pick Afro into Nevea 03's Susano, but she couldn't hack it. She kept going out of my range, and I'm like, Nev, you're out of my range. And then like a second later she died. And I was like, well, we see what happened here.
You guys got to work on your e couple.
Right. And then the final game of the night, Assault, I had Ra. I was hitting some fire snipes, but their Ra also hit some fire snipes, and we took the L. Feels bad. I think that was another game where we were like all magical and like everybody was fucking reroll. We went through the entire team's like at least 4 people's rerolls, all fucking magical. And it was like, God damn it. No fucking luck getting a Fizz God. So, that's how it be sometimes. So, those were my games. Riggs, you got something for us.
I got some games, and then that'll transition into some other
Yeah.
stuff. But some games. I've been on a massive, just dominant streak. You know.
No,
Just
not a clue. Don't know.
tons of dubs all over the place, dude. Too many to count, honestly. The only notable ones I did actually have a really cringe game. I locked in RDO solo. Just awful by me. I don't know why I did that. I apologize for my sins. It's just
Win,
I don't know why, man. We definitely won that game. The other solo laner did not have any fun at all whatsoever.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a little cringe by me, not gonna lie. I think that was also the games where I was against the same guy like 4 games in a row, and I won every single one of those games. And I went up against him in solo every single one of those games.
This
Playing something different.
individual's name wasn't spelled MAST, was it?
No.
Okay.
He plays jungle.
No, luckily I haven't. Yeah, luckily I haven't run into one of those games in a while.
Okay.
No, I had a Sylvanas solo game, right? Book of Thoth, Book of the Dead breastplate build, classic. With a Mirrodin in there and a amulet upgrade, the Heartward amulet upgrade that gives you a shit ton of prots.
Yep.
Classic.
Classic.
A little Ymir solo gameplay in there with the Book of the Dead, Book of Thoth breastplate build. A little Ardio gameplay, no Book of Thoth on Ardio.
No.
This one though, this one might make you laugh. I had a Book of Thoth, Divine Ruin, Spirit Deso, Poly breastplate game. Want to guess what Guardian that was? I went 10, 1, and 10 and made a game-winning play at the very end of the game.
Ooh.
Think of a Guardian that does a lot of damage. Good CC.
Guardian with a lot of damage. Good
Geb.
CC.
Can be played in solo. Not
Geb.
Hasn't
Capri.
been played like ever this season.
Capri.
You're right. Right letter. It's a K. It's a K letter. Big old fat boy. Yeah, there you go. Big old fat boy Kumba. 10, 1, and 10 Kumba solo game, full damage. I had triple flat pen with the new Book of Thoth having flat pen now. So there was a point where I blink ulted their Vulcan.
Can we talk about how dumb that is?
There's a point I blink ulted their Vulcan and he landed and died with the ult, just my ult alone, one shot him. Granted, I was ahead of him at that point. I was like 3 levels ahead of him, but I blink ulted him and my ult literally one shot him.
Okay.
Does anyone remember 3 years ago when Obsidian Shard was the only way to get % pen in Smite?
Yeah.
Anybody remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
And now there's like 7 items with % pen. I mean, not as much as Opshard ever had, or has still. But
this one's flat pen, but same kind of thing. Yeah, there's a ton of flat pen and a ton of % pen like everywhere now.
Well, yeah, but you said Book of the Dead.
The pen caps are still in place, right? Like you can't overcap.
Yes, 50. I think it's 50 of each is the cap of flat prots, and then flat pen, and then 40 is the cap of %.
Yeah.
I thought it was 40.
But yeah,
40.
you get.
But oh well.
I think it's 50 for flat.
Yeah. I'm kind of with Riggs on this one. I think it is 50.
Which is weird because it's really hard to hit 50. I'm pretty sure.
Right. Yeah, like it.
I don't think it's like. Is it even possible?
I think with Toxic Blade, yeah, because that's 15.
Toxic Blade.
Yeah, that's right.
Flat.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I think because 50 is the cap for flat.
Yeah, oh, I was talking percent. I was talking % pen was 40. That's why I'm like
40. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
40's % We're saying we think flat is 50.
Flat is 50. % is 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I say otherwise?
Full damage. No, I think we just got ourselves confused.
Yeah. I just like because I remember it's awkward because like it's easy to get 45% pen.
Yeah.
Right, because there's like 3 items. I got like 4 like at 15%, and there's like 1 item with 10, or not %, just 10. And it's like
Yeah, that's what we were saying. We're like the cap is 50 for flat, but I think it's hard to get to 50, which is weird.
Right.
They probably did it because now this used to be a thing back in the day. So this might be a reason why they made it 50, because people, if they're going to overcap by 5, will no longer buy that item. Right?
Yeah.
Because you're wasting it, you're overcapping. No, like literally is a thing, because there used to be
wasting stats.
One item that gave you 15% cooldown, I want to say, or there was 2 of them that gave you a 5% basically.
Spirit rub, yeah.
And people would get to like 35% cooldown and would not finish off the 40, or they would get to 30%, right? But they only could get an item that gave them 15%, so they would not get to 40%, right? Or I get you 25, because they playing on red.
Which is technically what the blue buff is for too.
Right, like so you can count.
So really, really, we need the starter that gives you 20% cooldown and a 5% cooldown item, and then nothing. So
And see, that's part of the conversation I was having yesterday with Absolute Zero,
yeah,
or Friezo, however you guys know him in the Discord, because we were talking about Chronos Pendant and how it's like if you have your power pot, your 500 power pot, and a blue buff, you don't need Chronos Pendant, especially if you're getting the starter item, right? The Sands of Time.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, alternate timeline's a bit of a meme. I guess you could be buying it, but realistically, most other people buying the other one. That's 20%. Blue buff is 10. The power pot is 10. So you're max between those. I
Yep.
mean, you could always argue you're not always going to have your blue buff or your power pot. So all that really does is open up a slot in your build for Spear Desolation, Soul Gem, Pythagorean's Piece, or whatever. There's a lot of good 10% cooldown items out there.
but
right
listen,
now. There's just no room for
in
Chronos
Conquest,
Pendant.
the buff comes back up when it falls off.
In Conquest,
So
the
you
blue
could
buff
just
does
go-
not belong to the mage.
It doesn't, but it can.
And also in Conquest, if you want to give it to your mage, though, you can have him have a 20% CDR buff because you can get your little scorpion. So
Yeah.
20% right there. Boom.
So we only
Bada
need
bing,
we
bada
only
boom.
need the alternate timeline.
Yeah. Well, that's basically what the whole argument comes back to. Is like
Yeah.
with the current builds and with how you can get cooldown and what items give cooldown right now.
Yep.
Chronos Pendant is only ever bought
By bad
in
players.
Assault, right? Because you can outright buy at the start, and it
At
gives
the
you
start,
good
because
start
there is
stuff,
no
right?
blue buff, and you're not often buying the red
Right.
pot.
Right.
Yeah.
Or by people who just want the passive. It's never bought for the cooldown aspect of it, right? Because I need the 20% cooldown.
Right.
Unless there's an off chance it's like you literally didn't buy the cooldown starter and this is going to be your solo start or solo cooldown item.
Yeah.
But it's almost just about the passive. Like, no one gives a fuck about the stats. Most people couldn't tell you the stats on it besides 20% cooldown, some MP5, and
Like
power around 100. I know it's 90,
Oh,
but most people are
is
like,
it 90?
eh.
It used to
It
have such
changes.
low power. It used to
It
be down
fluctuates all
around
the
like
time.
it used to. I
Yeah,
want to
it
say it
dipped
was
down
like
to 80
50
for
or
a minute.
60.
It dipped
Well,
down
like
to 80
a couple
for a
years ago, it was 50 or 60, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was like 60, but that's back when the only item that gave you over 100 was Tahuti. And the 3,600 Deso. And everyone's like, oh my god, that's so expensive. And now that's how much your fucking Tahuti glyph costs.
Yeah. Crazy
So
how
I
items
played
change.
Kumba solo.
Yeah,
Nice.
that sounds very fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. I had triple flat pen Kumba solo, one shot and carries. I made a game saving or a game winning play, right? So what happened is that we were fucking around, right? We got their phoenixes, we were sieging.
Yeah.
We fucked around a little too hard, you know, that classic chart right now that's going around, the fuck around and find out chart.
Yeah.
We found out. We got team wiped at their
Ooh.
Phoenix or at their Titan. We were fucking around too much.
Okay.
And it was right around the time that Fire Giant was respawning.
Ooh.
Oh,
And so
that's
I
not the
respawned.
time to fuck around.
I respawn, and the closest ward we had to Fire Giant was like right at their like little door opening part between their phoenixes.
That's
So I
tough.
TP to that, and I'm running back, and my team, I'm like, I type in the chat like, watch this, and then they
no.
do get fire.
You were
They get
coming
fire.
from the other direction.
I was coming from behind them, dude. The classic China
Yeah.
flank from SPL, but it was only one person.
It's only one.
So I'm coming from behind, obviously, you know, as I do.
Yep.
And they end up getting fire, but they're all kind of low because they tanked it weird. I don't know what they did, but they were
Who are you on?
they're lower than they should.
This is Kumbo still, right?
I'm Kumba solo running around full damage. I ult their Kali, one shot Kali. She was like half health. I won their Vulcan and kill him with my one because he was low health as well. Then I mez the people running away and I root them. And my team's running from our base at this point, and we just kill the rest of them and walk down in the game. But I just
Oh
like
my
walked
God.
in, like killed two of them, rooted
Walked
a third
in
one.
like, what's up? I
mezzed
got a
them.
big
Yeah,
cock.
Right.
Just got this item from a thrift shop.
it was pretty sick. And then the last game I've been messing around a little bit with some builds. I don't want to say I'm pioneering a build right now, but I think I'm on to something with this build.
Okay.
So, Fro, you know how you mentioned that you've been building a lot of Stone of Gaia on your assassins, like specifically Fenrir, right?
It's just
I
so
have
cheap, and it's got 2 passives. It's the fucking stats are solid. Like there's for a sustain item, there's just nothing else that sustains like it does.
I have an alternative
Oh.
All right, let's hear it.
that I think is a little bit better. What about Runeforged? Have you looked at Runeforged stats recently?
Okay, Runeforge is also bloated as fuck, but it doesn't have the sustain.
It
And I've
has
been going-
25 HP 5, which is a lot, and it also has 20 MP 5, which is a lot.
Which is a lot.
It also has 250 health, which is a good amount.
Which is
No,
fair.
yeah, that's solid.
30
It's in the
power
higher
plus the
end.
passive. I've been going
Yeah.
a lot of assassin solos with Axe, and I'm going Runeforge first item. I'm not dealing with any sustain issues. I'm not dealing with any like mana issues. I'm doing a shit ton of damage because the passive is proccing on people, and I've got 30 power. I'm going Runeforge right into Glad Shield if I'm going against physical.
Oh,
Between
you're
those
already
two
going way
passives,
more damage than I've been going though.
Like, it's so like I'm using Rat as the example. This is the Rat game I played.
Oh, but you've
I'm
got
granted.
that fancy acorn though.
Well, okay, yeah, okay. I've also done it on set as well, but like
Okay.
Rat as the one I'm using the example of this Rat game because I went 16 and 1.
You know what?
and
Set's got a lot of slow. I bet that Runeforge is huge for Set.
It is
Especially that
insane.
works on his auto attacks.
Yeah.
Does it work on his
It is
clones?
No, it just works on the slow proc, so just from the one. Does
Okay.
does it one slow from the clone too? I don't remember.
I think it
'Cause
does.
if that
I
one's-
think the
if
clone
Because
that
if,
one
the,
slows.
if the clone auto attack, does that slow?
I don't think
No.
Or is
so.
it just damage?
It's just
just
the one
damage.
that slows,
It's
but
just
I don't
the
know if
one
the
that slows.
one
And
from his
I don't-
clone slows as
I don't-
well.
I don't think those are treated as pets, so they should technically.
But it's the one.
don't
It's the one ability that slows. It's not the.
Those
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
they should get the enhanced damage from the slow.
Oh, you mean
on
from
there.
the rune? They gain bonus Runeforge damage. Yes.
Yeah, I was trying to
if they
figure out
hit,
because
though, those things rarely hit. Like they might auto someone once before they walk away from it.
But hey, 20% more. You know, it's an extra 5.
But the whole point is, I think
Yeah,
Runeforge, I think is the next. I don't want to say meta item that's not being bought yet, but I think if you're playing an assassin and you want a good hybrid item, specifically in solo, maybe jungle, or like just in your casual like slash or whatever,
Yeah.
I would say try Runeforge because it'll proc on Fenrir's one if you stun, right? Then you get some
Yep.
good damage after that. Proc on his ult, or I guess
well, it wouldn't matter.
it doesn't
for
proc
the
on the ult.
ult.
Never mind. It doesn't proc on the ult.
Yeah,
I've
what?
got a.
It'd proc
The
on the
ult
ult,
grab.
just you wouldn't have.
The ulta grab, it doesn't proc on the ult.
Oh, it doesn't proc on grabs? Okay.
No.
Well, even
It
if
doesn't
it
proc-
did,
ignore that.
even if it did, you would have to grab and auto drop it in order to be able to use it in time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless does it stay the entire time they're CC'd? I guess again, it doesn't matter. That would be the relevant point if it did matter though.
Yeah. It gives good power, good health, really good HP 5 and MP 5. Those are really, really high for a stat or an item like this.
Yeah.
No,
I
I'll
would
give
say-
it a shot. I'll give it a shot. I
That's
guess I forgot
huge.
about
As a
the
first item,
25
that's
HP 5.
massive. Yeah.
Yeah, 25 HP 5 is a lot.
Yeah, I
And
thought
20
I only
MP
had
5 is nothing
15.
to scoff at either.
No, the MP5. Well, the MP5 is part of the reason why Gaia is like stands above the rest, right? Because there are a few who get like around 20 range, and I thought Runeforge was 15, but if it's 25, I think that matches the base HP 5 of Gaia, because Gaia also has 25. Granted, it has the double passive, but
Right.
the MP5 is what sets it above, right?
Now,
Like, because if you look at like Thebes, which is another great one. Now, granted, neither of them compared to the tankiness of Thebes that provides you. But Thebes has 0 MP5. That's like the downside of it, right? That's why you kind of need to pair it with like Watchers or something like that.
yeah.
Is to get your MP5. So yeah, having both that's pretty fucking huge. That it might be a good. If I'm already doing good and I don't need like super sustain, and this build also sounds a lot more damagey, bruiser than mine. Mine's more tank. I'm going tank, not bruiser. Because just with you had way more power than I did anyways with those 3 items. Like that's 3 more items than I had with power. Like, unless I also bought Axe, and then that would like most of the time be my only one, unless I finished it with a Brawlers.
Right.
I did also buy Axe and Brawlers and Heartward Amulet upgrade with the Pro upgrade, which I've been buying a lot recently.
That's real good.
I think that was insane.
That one's also nice for the fucking for a reason that you can double down on your fizz prots.
Right,
Buy a heart ward,
yeah.
and it's like you bought a hybrid item, right? Because let's face it, a lot of the great passives on tank items are found on physical items, right? If you look at like Glad Shield, if you look at like Void Shield, if you look at Berserker Shield, we can look at Nemean, Spectral, like those there's a lot of great passives to be found on the physical defense side. There's not as many on the magical aspects.
Not as many.
Like Anquiles, okay. I don't think it's like, oh my god. Runics, again, okay. I don't think it's like huge standouty. Probably Shoguns or Talisman are probably like the two big notable ones on the magical side. That's not a... I almost said that's not a passive. It's totally a fucking passive. Yeah. Bulwark's a good one. And that passive is good, and that just purely fades in and out of meta because of the stats of the base item.
Yeah, right.
If I go like a full Fizzy build, I get close to 50 magical procs from that glyph.
Yeah, that's a whole fucking item. Now, granted, those are your fizz procs converted into that. But because you have so many, it's not an issue, right?
If there's not a healer on the enemy team, would you pick up Heavy Executioner instead of that bead stick?
No.
Yeah.
On who? I'm using Rat.
Yeah.
So no, I would not pick up Heavy X on Rat. On like a set, maybe, but like there's other items I'd buy over that. But
well, hold up. Is Heavy the one that marks them, or is Heavy the attack speed cap?
The attack speed limit.
More prot shred, but attack speed cap.
Yeah.
I guess the prot shred would be the advantage.
Set.
Yeah, the only thing with that though is like
I'm just thinking the prot shred with the Runeforge, like the 20% over a 50% negative. Like
the thing with that though is like if I'm playing like a set solo, I'm not diving their support or like warrior. I'm diving their squishies, so the percent pen's not too much there.
I suppose
it's a good item though. I agree. I love that item, but I just I wouldn't buy it. Like
I was just trying to think.
And this same logic would apply to like playing a Rat too. So
yeah.
But yeah, I've been messing around with Runeforge. Like you guys said, Tainted's really good. I buy Tainted a lot in solo. It is a very, very good item. But
now, do you do that because you start with the Runeforge and you're able to go without a starter?
Sometimes I'll do Tainted starter, and then I'll do the earrings tier 1 because they're only 400 gold, so you can get pots as well, and that gives you MP5 to get through the early game.
Okay.
And then you can either buy the upgrade or just sell them. It's not like it's that much of a loss if you sell the earrings.
Right, because it's only 400, so you get like 200 back.
You get like 160 back, I think, or 170, I think. So it's like you spent like 270 gold, and that's what you lost basically.
Yeah, and you wait until you wait until you need the spot to sell them anyway.
For the equivalent of the constant
20
mana potion, like the constant mana potion tick, basically is what you get from that because they the MP5. So it's like I think it's worth.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. And that is a good way of looking at it a lot of times too. Like if you just literally look at it like you spent 200 gold to have however long the duration, we'll say 15 minutes, right? 15 minutes of a constant potions. How much would that have cost you in potions? I mean,
right.
At the very least, it would have cost you 300 to get the chalice. So
now, Riggs, it sounds like you're making some very big brain plays, big brain decisions here.
What a segue.
I heard some rumor about some smooth brain going on in your experiences this past week.
Okay. It shouldn't surprise anybody that the Smite Reddit and Smite Twitter folk are full of just idiots and morons.
Fuck Smite Reddit.
But I can't help myself from looking from time to time. I'm not in that many subreddits, so when I do pull up Reddit, usually I get a Smite one first. I see a lot of Smite stuff on Twitter because I follow a lot of Smite people. And boy, oh boy, are there some fucking stupid people out there with some stupid opinions.
Fucking
And
right, bud.
I just can't help but bitch about it. So, this is SPL related. So, I don't know how closely you guys have been following SPL this season. I'll give you a little TLDR.
All right.
Basically, since about halfway through last season up until now, the Solar Scarabs roster has gone through a ton of turmoil and changes for different reasons here and there. Basically, the last one was that this week, literally as of recording, it would have already happened. We've already seen games with the new teams, but basically, the Kings and the Scarabs swapped Netrioid for Yarkor and ADC, and Baronic stepped down. He retired, not retired, but he stepped down from this season from playing in the SPL from mid. So basically, the entire original Scarabs roster from last season is officially gone now. They are no longer on the team. With Baronic stepping down, he was the last one because Slaney went to the Titans to coach. Stewart went to the Titans to play ADC. Sot went to the Titans in the offseason to play solo. So now, yeah, the Titans basically are the new Scarabs. It's kind of funny. But and then Layers, obviously, with the whole debacle last season, he's on the Titans as well. Funny enough. Scream earlier this season left the Scarabs to go play with the Dragons. So basically, what it came down to was everybody was leaving the Scarabs for reasons of their own reasons to join better teams and have better opportunities. And every single time, people were bitching about they need to implement roster locks for the SPL. They need to the Scarabs are just like the poaching team. Everyone's just poaching from the Scarabs. They should make rules where you can't switch teams this many times because it's bad for the Scarabs. What do you think they're dealing with? Fucking they need to do this and that. The Scarabs
This
are
is why we
they're
need
a
to bring
bottom
orgs
team.
back. I saw that
They're
one.
they're a perpetual bottom team. It's not fair for them. They have to deal with all this shit. It is fucking crazy to me that people are that dumb. I got some reasons. Number one, no matter what, there's always going to be a bottom seeded team. In every single league ever invented, ever, the NFL will always have a worst team. There's always going to be the worst team in the NFL. You're always going to be one team that's the worst in basketball. There's always going to be one team in the worst in every league. No different in the SPL. It's unfortunate. Obviously, nobody wants to be last place. One
Yeah,
team is
the
always going to
only
end up being last place.
exception is if there's two shit teams tied for last.
Yeah, there's always going to be a bottom team. It just so happens that the Scarabs have been a bottom team basically since they've existed. It's unfortunate, but true. Also, one other roster change I forgot to is inbound step down too. So I forgot about that. And naturally, right, if you're a good player, if the league sees you as a good player, which the league, I guess, has seen most of the Scarabs, former Scarabs roster as good players because they picked them up on other teams. If you are seen as a good player and you're on a bottom team, and a team on a better team comes to you and is like, "Hey, we're thinking about picking you up. Would you be interested?" Why the fuck would you say, "No, I'm good actually. I want to be on this bottom team. I'm gonna stick it out with them. I'm boys with all these guys." Or as a player, why wouldn't you be like, "Fuck yeah, I want to go to the better team. Give me a
Right.
better opportunity to win worlds. Gives me a better opportunity to show how good I am." Like, why would you not want to go to a better team?
Yeah.
And it's like people have used the whole SK roster as an example of, oh, the SK roster back when they won it. I think it was season 6 SK, where it's like the Paul and Scary D team and Neil team.
Okay. Yeah.
They were like last place for majority of the regular season up until like they barely qualified for Worlds, and then they barely won World. Like every single set was a 3-game or 5-game set, and they squeaked it out and they won Worlds. Even after that team won Worlds, Sam for soccer left that team and joined the now J was the J Dragons roster, basically the same roster. Joined them because he was like, I'm tired of being on a bottom team. I want to be on a team that's better, even if they didn't win Worlds. I'm gonna join a better team because it's better for me, and we're more consistent, and I don't have to deal with being on that team because the mental on that team was bad. I don't like playing with people on that team.
Right.
Even he left that team after they won Worlds. So why would you like? I just it just fucking annoys me so much that people were just like, you need to implement roster locks and we need to not let players do this, because guess what? Without the players, there's no league. The players are what drive the league. And if you have players that don't want to be on teams, that they don't get along with people on their team, why would they sit there and be like, all right, well, I guess I'm just gonna play this year out? No, they would just fucking leave the league if they don't want to be on the team. So why would you force a team to stick together and say, no, you need to stick together, your roster's locked. You need to stay together and stick it out, and maybe you guys will get good. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
And what's the benefit of making the players stick it out? What is the actual benefit?
Hopefully they'll turn it around. That's the only benefit. Hopefully they'll turn it around. Well, then you have a good team in the league. That's the only benefit.
A new team's got to take the bottom.
Exactly. It's crazy, right?
Well, I mean, I guess you could argue benefit is that a new one will.
Yeah.
But it's not going to remove a bottom seeded team, right? There's I don't know. I don't pay much attention to the SPL, but I see zero reason to force any player, basically in any sport, to stay on a team that they absolutely hate. I mean, I guess there are contracts and shit and like some legal reasons, but what's wrong with trading? I don't, or leaving. Like, I just, like you said, if it'll literally be the option, well, I'll just quit playing then.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
And it's it's a little different than professional sports teams because there's not really trades in Smite. Like, there's trades, and they do implement a trade deadline in pretty much all professional sports of like, hey, after this date, you can't just trade players with other teams. You can still like release players and they can join other teams that way, but like you can't trade them anymore. But for Smite, it's like there's times and places for roster locks, and they do implement a roster lock currently in Smite where Worlds is the only time your roster is locked. The roster you submit for Worlds, you cannot change players after you submit that roster.
Right.
Like, except for like an emergency.
And
But
there's a deadline
point,
for submitting.
If it's an emergency, you can't take a player from another team. It has to be someone who's not on a team.
Yep.
So, like the example for that is, I think in like season 4 or 5, I think it was 5. The energy team at the time, the one with adapting and all them, the ones that won Worlds a bunch of times. They Yemen stepped down right at Worlds because he was dealing with some stuff, and so they had to quickly pull a mid laner. They pulled Homie FA, who didn't even play mid at the time, but he was able to travel for Worlds. So they threw him in mid lane because they couldn't pull from another team. So they had Homie FA play mid for him, and obviously that didn't go well for him. But that's what they had to do because the rosters were locked.
They ended up doing pretty well too, if I remember.
Yeah, I mean, he held his own.
Yeah.
But they didn't win a set. But I mean, he held his own. But like, that's the only time I think roster locks are okay, is right at Worlds. Other than that, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
If a team is like, hey, and they come to a team decision of like, hey, we think this is the example I'm using is the Kings, right? Because the Kings literally just did this, where they said, hey, we're not getting along in scrims, and this roster we don't think can win Worlds with this roster. Obviously, they're a good team. They've been top 3 all year, top 4 all year. But they said, hey, as a team, we don't think we can win with this roster. We need to make a change. And they came to that decision as a team. And so they swapped Netroid for Yarkor. And everybody, just because it happened to be the Scarabs that they took Yarkor from, everyone's bitching about it and saying, well, the Scarabs, they can only deal with so much. This is why we need roster locks. The Scarab, everyone's just poaching from the Scarabs. It's like, yeah, if you're a good player on a bad team and you get an opportunity to join a better team, why wouldn't you do that? It doesn't make any sense to be like, nah, I'm good. I'll stick it out over here. I want to be in last place. I want to be in second place.
Right. I mean, so in a way I get it, but also I don't think that you should be able to willy-nilly essentially like swap out the entire roster on a team from split to split.
Well,
I did
it's not like these changes
like,
have
that's
happened
not
gradually. It's not like these have happened over the course of over a year and a half at this point. So it's like, it's just slowly the Scarabs roster has been kind of gutted, basically.
Yeah.
So I did see an argument, which kind of goes with what Depp said. That's like you could literally at the start of a year have a team that by the end of the year is not the same. Like you could damn near have like a fucking total replacement of a team. And it's something we actually ran into when we were running our bot G League, right? People swapping players out, and we had to implement where you only allowed to swap out. I think it was 2 players total. Now, granted, it is a bit different when we're talking about an amateur league,
Right.
shitters versus people doing this for their jobs, and actual legitimate top level players, like provable. But it is kind of shady at times. But ultimately, I mean, if we were League of Legends size, we could be a little more strict, right? But we just don't really have the player base to just be so dead set with it. Like, you got to allow the flexibility. Or maybe bring in some new blood, because it's something I've heard numerous times. And if you keep your ear to the ground enough, you'll hear in certain circles about how it's hard to break into the scene because it's a bit of a, what is it? What's the term?
A friends league.
Yeah, friends league. Yeah.
Which I would call a little bit of bullshit on that from the arguments. I agree to an extent, and this goes for every job everywhere. If the more people you know, the better chance you have of getting that job anywhere or just anything. The more people, it's all about who you know. And that certainly does play a factor into getting into the SPL. But like, if you're just popping the fuck off, you're gonna get a shot.
Yeah,
that's what happened to Paul. Paul was never doing anything in the SPL before he got picked up. He was a rookie mid laner because he was popping off in SEC, and they were like, "All right, we can't just let this kid be wasting down here in SEC. We got to give him a chance in the SPL." Same thing with Pegon this year. Pegon's a rookie this year he was playing in SEC for a while, but like he didn't really know anybody in the SPL, and all of a sudden now he's probably going to win Rookie of the Year. He's on one of the best teams in the league. It happens all the time. Haddix is another example. Haddix joined the Bolts last year, dominated all year because he had been dominating in SEC. There's been a lot of new talent recently. I definitely think it was more so back in the day of SPL. It was like who you knew you could get on the team, basically.
Idea. What if you bring in the top 2 SCC teams into the Smite Pro League, and then you have a constant lowest team gets bumped down.
They used to do that.
SCC gets brought up.
They used to do relegations for it, and then now they don't anymore because it's on LAN, and it's a little bit hard to do that now. But yeah, they used to have relegations. And the thing is with that, the Scarabs, with the roster they had, have lost to the SEC team twice this year already.
Yeah.
At LANs. They've lost that. Scarabs roster before has lost to the SEC team twice this year.
Yeah. So.
Not in its current form right now, but in the form that it was with the other players that were on it before they left, they lost to the SEC team.
Right.
I guess that's fair. I haven't.
Yeah, bring back
a bit outdated. I guess
I don't know.
You do bring you pay close. You do pay much closer attention, and you bring up some examples. So
yeah,
like I will sympathize if you're a fan of the Scarabs. Obviously, it sucks to see the team that you root for go through so much changes. And like for a guy like Bronic, right? You feel for Bronic because he's been playing mid this entire time. He's just had to deal with all these roster changes and all these changes going around him. Like I get it. Like it sucks. But I don't think changing the format of the league is better. I think this is the best way to have it, is give the freedom to the players and let them make the decisions for them. Because at the end of the day, the players are what run the league. And that's the same. I could say the same thing for every league. The NFL, if the players don't have freedom to trade, to go to different teams, and they're just stuck in their contracts, they can't get out of their contracts and go to different teams, the NFL would be a worse product. I'd say the same thing for NBA, say the same thing for any other league. If players can't have the freedom that they need to do what they want to do, and because if the player doesn't want to be on a team, probably not going to put in the most effort they can. What does that leave? It leaves a worse product for the fans to watch. Like, it's a lose-lose for everybody, I think.
Yeah, and as someone who lives in Michigan, and
well,
yep,
just driving down the road and Fro's like, left turn.
Yep. No, well, hold
someone
on.
who lives in Michigan.
It matters slightly, and whose parents really, or especially my mom, likes the Lions. and was taken to many Alliance games during the Barry Sanders era, there is definitely something to be said about letting the talent rot on a bad team. I've
The Lions have
heard
done that
this
twice
argument.
recently.
What's that?
The Lions have done that twice. They did that with Barry Sanders and they did it with Calvin Johnson too.
I
Another
don't even
thing,
know who that
star,
dude is, but I take your word for it.
Hall of Fame wide receiver didn't want to. He wanted to play somewhere else. Lions didn't let him, and he retired at like 29 because he was like, "All right, well, if I can't leave, I'm done then."
I mean, yeah.
Same thing with Barry Sanders.
That's exactly what happened to Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
Fucking did it early. He's like, I'm fucking out here, fucking almost breaking records and shit, not even making his playoffs. So yeah, there is something to be said about letting good players rot on a team and causing them to leave. Now, granted, there's contracts and shit involved with them, then that's why they had to go that route. Versus in Smite, there's not. So you have players being able to go, I'm going elsewhere. So I do see both sides of it. It is kind of shitty where it's like you can have a completely different team from the start towards the end, but on the same hand, what the ultimate goal is or should be is players' health, players' mental health, players' growth, very entertaining show, and the continuation and growth of the league, right? Like all of those should be put at the forefront. So if this is good for all of those, okay, let's go. Keep it up.
And the goal for the teams and the players should be to win worlds. So if you're on a team and you don't think that team can win worlds, then why are you on that team? Like,
yeah, kind of. I mean,
if as a team, if all 5 of you say, yeah, I don't know if we can win worlds with this roster, why would you stick together?
And again,
Like,
it's one thing to be like, I don't know if we can win worlds because the other team is just so amazing.
Right.
Versus,
or
I don't
we're
think
not
we
where we should
got
be.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's yeah. It shouldn't be based on outside talent. It should be based on within. If you don't think your team has it, whether it's chemistry issues, whether it's talent, whether it's whatever, then don't do that. Which is what these teams are doing. They're saying, "Hey, I don't think we can win worlds with this team. Let's make changes."
And how
I
long
don't
have
see
they
anything
been
wrong with
together at this point? Like this particular roster? Because
like
everyone
2
talks
weeks.
as like total.
The Scarabs roster, the one that just had the changes with the Art Core going to the Kings, was together for like 2 or 3 weeks.
All right, and what about before that? Because the Arcar was one edition.
Inbound step down, I think somewhere around midseason, and then same thing with Scream going to the
So
Dragons.
they had so they had a decent time together, right?
Yeah, they
So
had
it's
a
like
good like
so
bunch or two.
I'll assume they brought in York or fresh blood 2 weeks, didn't cut it, right? They tried this as a drastic change, didn't cut it.
Yeah.
But the rest of the roster, you know, like I said, if they're together from, you know, mid-season, have been together for a few months, so, you know, it's not like they haven't tried to put it together. It's not like they haven't, like, well, you know, we just didn't get along. We didn't click after 2-3 games. Like, it's been a few months. If they still ain't clicking after, like, fucking 4 or 5 months, you're probably just not going to click. Like, I have certain coworkers, I don't need to fucking work with them for 5 months to know we don't fucking work well together, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll just straight up tell my boss, we don't work the best together. How about you put me with this one that I do? And then you can put that other person.
Imagine if you were roster locked to that person.
They worked. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Your boss goes, no, you're roster locked to that person. You have to work with them for the rest of the year because that's what the league says.
Now,
And
you say
just
that.
Turn around, you're just like, fuck.
But I have had a boss do that to me because me and the other person that did not like each other worked fucking great together because we didn't talk and we just worked. But we didn't argue. We didn't argue or anything like that. We just fucking got the shit done, right?
Yeah, so that you could
but
leave.
Like me and
So
this
that
person
you could
had
not
like
be
this
around each
mutual
other.
like, hey, we don't like each other. But
Yeah.
the more we like get in each other's way and like don't help each other do this 2-person job, the more we actually have to interact together. So if we just fucking not do that, and me and him actually would fucking just crank out a lot of work. So I do get there is that, but that's not the case that was going on in this situation, right? That's
Right.
definitely an outlier.
Yeah.
No, you have to talk in SBL. So
Right.
Well, and
Exactly.
like final point, right? Final point. Because I know I'm bitching for a while now. Final point.
I mean,
It's not even
we're here
like
to
this new Scarabs roster is bad. Like they literally just won a set today, or not today. Sorry, Friday. Um, And it's like you said you haven't paid attention to the SPL in a little bit. You might even know these names. Like Snoopy's playing mid now. You would probably know Snoopy.
Oh yeah.
Netroid's playing ADC, which you
Okay,
just swap
yeah.
with the Kings. Herwin's playing support.
Okay, yeah, you've been around.
Sam for soccer's playing jungle, and Scary D's playing solo. It's not like that team's full of scrubs. Like
long-time pro players, experienced pro
those
players,
are all
world
players.
championship players.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember about Scary D, but I know Sam for soccer for fucking sure is SWC
Scary D was
season
on the same team, yeah.
7, season 6.
He was on that SK team that I was talking about earlier, where they were last place. Yeah, Scary D and Sam were both on that team. So
wild.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I said, I'm sympathetic for scares people, for fans. Like I get it. It sucks to watch your team go through so much changes. It's hard to like root for a team that's constantly changing. The Colts, in fucking real life, the Colts just fired their head coach and hired a guy who's never coached in his life. Like, I get it. It sucks. And guess what? The Colts won the last week. So it's not the end of the world. They'll be fine. The team wouldn't do it if they didn't think it was best for the team. Like, relax. We'll be all right. We don't need roster locks. I wish there was like a function on Smite Reddit to be like, is your opinion stupid? Yes or no? If it is, you're not allowed to post it. Final answer.
Final answer. I like it. It's pretty good.
So that was Riggs's games this week.
That was Riggs's case.
Yeah.
Right.
We are like an hour and 40 minutes in, and we are fucking finishing. Or I guess it's an hour 20.
Hour 20.
Sorry, I was looking at the actual
that's
time versus
still,
what time we should have started.
You know, and we
fucking...
rarely talk SPL, but I think.
I could talk SPL all day, baby.
Okay, well, let's calm down now.
Well, I got one last.
Pretty good, unless Fro wants
games.
to note something here.
I do, because I totally fucking forgot about this, and it is one notable thing. In my games this week, I ran into a friend of the podcast, and that would be Mr. Hindu Man himself. So, yeah, saw Hindu in an assault yesterday.
I'm surprised he still plays Smite.
Why not? He likes Smite.
I feel like
found him in. It was a 1:30 a.m. Friday night assault queue. So
that's huge.
Yeah. We got shit stomped.
Oh no.
Unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. I tried.
Were you against him? Or you against him?
I was against him. Yes.
Oh, did he take a hammer to your keyboard?
He did not.
Okay.
He took an axe to my entire team's face. He was on shock. He was grabbing his shock. My whole team just sat there and watched him do it. I was on. All right, I'll read this out here. We had. Why so many fucking hidden profiles, people? Stop doing that. We had a Neath, Kuzumbo, Hades, Mulan, which was Colorado, and then I was on Kronos, right?
Okay.
We had the fucking Kuzumbo went 0-10. So that should let you know how the whole game went. It was not good. I was fucking cranking some damage out. I was trying. I was 3ing multiple people. I was fucking getting annoying ults off. They just kept coming. The shock just didn't stop. My Kuzumbo didn't stop running at them and dying.
Yeah.
It was rough. But GG's, Hinderman. See you at WagerX.
Hell yeah.
I won't. I'm not going.
Boo.
Okay.
I'm just
Boo.
It's just how it is. You know?
I'm only sad because who's going to go to Waffle House with me? Not like fucking Never Rick's going to invite me.
You know what, Fro? You can tell me when you're going, and I'll get my little 4-inch waffle maker.
We'll FaceTime and you'll mini waffle.
And I'll make waffles for an entire hour, and I'll FaceTime you. Or
there we go.
What's the other one?
No,
Skype.
Good. Yeah.
Fun fact: I just bought a waffle maker, and it's coming in today.
Is it one of the mini ones, like a little 4-inch guy?
No,
or like a full size.
It's like a full size one. Yeah.
Oh damn, you're missing out. $10 gets you a little 4-inch waffle maker. That's where it's at.
You had me on the 4-inch waffle maker until you posted the picture of making 10 waffles, and I'm like, well, you could have just made 2 regular waffles, huh?
Yeah, but they're mini. So I saran wrapped like 2 together and I put them in the freezer. So now I've got like frozen waffles ready.
Meal prep. I got you.
Toast them back up.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
And
that's legitimate. That's
I got
legitimate.
some sausage patties.
I was gonna say, go get a sausage patty, slap it in the fucking.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you say?
Eggs.
Oh, okay. I was like, I heard mayonnaise. Like for whatever. I'm like, what in the fuck did you just say?
Fro Double G. I'm the one that's sick, but it sounds like you're drunk. So maybe we thank some people, huh?
Oh shit! Yeah,
Can
we thank people.
Did you get a waffle maker for the reason I think you did?
Yeah, I exactly got it for the reason you think I did. But also, it was also like one of those items that was like recommended to me, and I had just listened to it, and I'm like, oh well, I've got to get this now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You guys listen to that one podcast.
Yeah, that's why I also have this.
The
Icy Hot.
What podcast is that again?
It's the Fuckface podcast.
You gotta bleep it. You gotta bleep it when you say face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I remember.
So
it's,
they
hold on. How far into
the name of the podcast is Fuckface, but they did that on purpose, so they have to bleep out the face part, and so anytime they ever mention their own podcast, they have to bleep it out.
So it's bleep face.
Yeah. It's great. They put Icy Hot on their balls to see if it makes them funnier throughout the episode because it's supposed to. We talked about this. It makes you uncomfortable. We talked about it. Yeah,
so you have more attention. It worked for the ears, but not for the balls. The balls was only funny on the way out of the episode as he's screaming in pain. Because one guy did it thinking that they were gonna record another episode. And they didn't. So he just put Icy Hot on his balls at the end of one episode.
I didn't bring this up last episode.
Yeah.
But decades ago, I had a friend who just did this anyways, right? It's fucking hilarious. I've seen it IRL.
Yeah. Yeah, I did it at football camp when I was in high school for fun.
Savage. Imagine doing that shit.
See if it lasts the longest without freaking out. Yeah.
Wait, you had a group of guys doing this, like in a circle, like who's the most manly man taking Icy Hots on their nuts?
Well, it was more so like a seniors were doing it to the freshmen type thing, and we're like, hey, you need to do this, and then it was like seeing how long you could last at practice before you freaked out because we went out to practice.
Oh no. And then you're sweating in your football gear and it fucking drips down onto your taint. Oh.
Correct.
Bro, you need to thank people before this conversation goes any further.
Dripping down onto your taint. I didn't think that was going to be said on this episode, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But
it's
Is that an episode title or what? Dripping down your taint?
I don't think we can put that, can you?
Here's the thing. I'm gonna hit us with the algorithm because we were talking about this. Episodes with Riggs in the title, they got a decent amount of listens.
Oh yeah, dude.
So this week I'm thinking Riggs versus Smite Reddit.
Hell yeah.
For the episode name. I think that's a pretty succinct.
What about if we compromise and just call it Riggs's taint?
I don't think that's how that works, bro.
That sounds like a picture is incoming into IRL feeding.
Hell yeah. OnlyFans. Don't worry, it'll be before practice. All right, thank you to all of our wonderful patrons who help us talk about Riggs's taint with crisp, clean audio quality. And thank you. Oh yeah, I guess thank you to Saydon's. Even though he's been a lazy fuck and been working a whole bunch and hasn't been doing the thumbnails, so I guess it's not actually lazy, but yeah, lazy fuck. Yeah. Anyways, thank you to Aereo Steel, Asbestos Dog, Weatherman Keith, Jade Flagon, Baseball, Griff, Danny, Bombi. Okay, I thought I skipped one. Wow, hold up.
You okay,
Caveman, Neo, Coffin Monkey, no. CDR Litz, Gilly, Snorlax, Weatherman, Adios, Sir Ember, K-Brojo, Famous Freak, Stoffmeister, Backlash, Sadons, Dr. Godfucker, Lantern, Reese, Warlord Yo, Batskid, Echo Dunk, Doc, Necros, Otter Joe, Riggs, Dracon, Prime, Glenn Wiggle, Granite Boys, Camel Hoss, Void vs. Void, Enbright, Sloppy Satch, Scion Gemini, Batman, Sandman, Aquasoft, Kilowatt Man, I'm a Hater, Mr. Man, Colorado, Amberbug, Folk Hero, and the Big Red.
Thank you
Holy
all. I
shit,
recognize
I
some new
big
names, even though Fro fucking struggled through that.
I really
Thank
did.
you.
I'm not gonna lie. My
Struggle in HD audio.
yeah. Just in general, my ADHD
Mono
has
channel
been a fucking
audio.
struggle today.
I just got a notification saying my waffle maker is out for delivery. That's huge.
You got it? Yeah.
It's out for delivery. Yeah.
Is it going to
so
be
we'll
a
see
desk waffle maker though?
No, it's like actual.
Oh.
We'll see when Fro decides to deliver it to me. We'll see.
Okay.
No, that's not how that works. Like, if you already ordered it, that means I already did my job.
Oh yeah.
I gotta do my
wait,
job before it's
Did you leave
even
me like a
online.
cool note on the package or something?
No. My job was making it was
No.
online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, if it's already online, I'm already done my job. I did that shit.
Yeah.
So there's no note saying like nice taint or anything on it. Like
No.
No. You
That'll
haven't posted the
be
picture yet.
in the OFDMs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here, fellas.
This episode
Bye-bye.
tain't what I was expecting.